Tyler Perry stepped onto the BET Awards stage, looked out at the packed audience, and dropped a line so simple, yet so sharp, it landed like a bombshell. He said, "Some folks borrow blessings like they're owed, but never return the favor." The room went silent. But what came out of his mouth wasn't just a speech, it was a warning shot. He didn't raise his voice, but somehow it echoed louder than any public feud the industry's ever seen. He talked about giving someone everything: a home, protection, loyalty, and in return, silence, disrespect, a burned bridge. No names were mentioned, but everybody knew exactly who he was talking about. In that moment, an untold story exploded into the spotlight. This wasn't just a speech, it was a declaration that something deeper had been broken. Flashback to 2020. The royal world was imploding. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle had just detonated their roles in the monarchy, walked away from palaces and titles, and stepped into the chaos of the public eye without a plan. Meghan claimed she was silenced. Harry said he had no support. The British tabloids circled like vultures. It was a PR disaster wrapped in a royal scandal. Enter Tyler Perry, Hollywood's unlikeliest guardian angel. No one saw it coming. He offered the couple his $18 million Beverly Hills mansion, complete with full security, privacy, and most importantly, silence. No leaks, no camera crews, just space to breathe. It wasn't a loan, it wasn't a lease, it was a favor, a gift, a sanctuary. And back then, it looked like Perry was the real MVP. Social media hailed him as a king, a protector of justice, a black man stepping in to help a biracial woman brutalized by centuries-old institutions. But the story had more chapters, and Perry, it turns out, was taking notes. What the world didn't see was what happened after the doors closed, after the gratitude wore off, after the interviews and Netflix deals started rolling in. Because according to insiders close to Perry, things got messy. There was an incident, small at first, but it told the whole story. Meghan allegedly asked Perry to use his private jet for a personal trip. Not a conversation, not a mutual agreement, a request. And when Perry declined, not out of spite or greed, but out of principle, things soured. That one word no was a turning point. Perry, who's worked with the biggest names in the business, knows how fame works. He's helped actors recover from addiction. He's funded projects no one else believed in. He's forgiven people who stabbed him in the back. But with Meghan, something was different. The boundaries weren't just pushed, they were erased. Producers warned him, staff whispered, "She doesn't give back," they said. "She uses and moves on." But Perry believed in redemption. He stayed quiet until the disrespect stacked up so high he couldn't see over it. And then came the final straw. Perry found out that Meghan had been using his name, leveraging his support, in meetings with investors for a new media venture, without his knowledge, without his consent. Pitch decks mentioned him as a silent partner, a strategic ally. And Perry, blindsided, realized he'd become a brand, not a friend. He was no longer a person to her. He was a resume bullet point. That's when the gloves came off. At the BET Awards, he didn't just speak from pain, he spoke from liberation. "Some people borrow blessings like they're owed," he said, "and they forget who built the bridge when they're halfway across it." The room froze. It was subtle, elegant, but the silence in that theater spoke volumes. People knew who he meant, and for once, they weren't rushing to defend the Duchess. Hollywood insiders started texting within seconds. Producers rewatched the clip. Executives had emergency calls. Because Perry isn't a petty man. He's strategic. If he's saying this publicly, it's because he wants you to know, without a shadow of doubt, that he's done. And when Tyler Perry says he's done with you, you're in trouble. What's chilling is the ripple effect. Suddenly, Meghan and Harry's media projects started hitting roadblocks. Netflix reportedly paused development on 2 of their upcoming shows. Spotify had already dropped them, citing creative differences. But now insiders say Perry's speech made even the most loyal collaborators rethink everything. Because here's the secret sauce in Hollywood. Reputation is currency. Not just your work, not just your numbers. Your reputation is your brand. And if someone as squeaky clean and respected as Tyler Perry turns his back on you, quietly, without theatrics, it tells everyone else, tread carefully. Even Oprah, Meghan's ultimate ally, now went quiet. No public support, no clarifications, no subtle social media hints. Just silence. And in this business, silence screams louder than scandal. Former employees at Archewell, Meghan and Harry's foundation started leaking behind-the-scenes chaos. One former assistant described the environment as a hurricane of ego. Meetings were derailed by mood swings, staff turnover was constant, consultants came and went like Uber drivers. And then came the internal emails. Leaked memos showed Meghan rejecting strategic PR advice in favor of her gut instincts. One media advisor wrote, "This isn't how power is built, it's how it's lost." Even more shocking, Perry's own production staff revealed that Meghan had tried to attach herself to one of his upcoming films, not as an actress, but as an executive producer. The deal never happened. Perry pulled the plug before it got off the ground, and then he delivered the speech, a full circle moment. This wasn't just personal, it was public, intentional, and it worked. Meghan's brand, once glittering with underdog sparkle, started losing its shine. Social media turned. Hashtags that once celebrated her now questioned her motives. Opinion pieces flipped. Morning shows debated. Has the Meghan Markle fairy tale ended? Because here's what people finally saw. Not a victim, but a pattern. Not a misunderstood woman, but a master manipulator of sympathy. Tyler Perry was the final puzzle piece. The man who gave without expectation and then realized he was just a step on her ladder. And Harry? Stuck in the middle. Sources say he's spiraling. Some claim he's trying to fix relationships Perry once helped him build. Others say he's in denial, clinging to a version of the story that no longer holds weight. Either way, the silence is deafening. Meghan and Harry released no official statement about the speech. No clarification, no denial, just nothing. And in a world driven by spin, their silence feels like confession. Because when you lose Tyler Perry and you lose your last get-out-of-jail-free card, this man opened his home, his Rolodex, his heart. He gave them cover when no one else would. And now? He's lighting that cover on fire. The internet lit up after the speech. TikToks broke down every word, every pause, every facial expression. Twitter exploded with speculation. "That was for Meghan," wrote one user. And it was glorious. Reddit threads dissected Perry's past interviews, looking for signs, clues, breadcrumbs, and the most telling part? He never once said her name, because that's what power looks like. You don't need to yell, you don't need to expose receipts, you just speak your truth and let the world do the math. And now Meghan's PR machine is in overdrive. Quiet calls to journalists, last-ditch efforts to resuscitate projects, but it's not working. The oxygen is gone. Because the people who once whispered behind her back are now speaking up. A stylist who worked on her Netflix show said, "It was never collaborative, it was always Meghan's way or the highway." A former Archewell donor said, "We believed in the story, but now I'm wondering if it was just a pitch." Even public opinion in America, her last stronghold, is starting to shift. Polls show declining support. People aren't just skeptical, they're exhausted. The constant reinvention, the never-ending victim narrative, the weaponization of identity and struggle. And Perry's speech? It wasn't just about Meghan. It was a wake-up call to Hollywood, a reminder that kindness isn't infinite, that loyalty has limits, that even the most patient souls eventually draw a line. He didn't clap back. He didn't spill secrets. He just told his story, one that millions could relate to, because everyone knows a Meghan, someone who smiles wide, takes freely, and disappears when you need them most, someone who treats loyalty like a transaction, someone who borrows your blessing, and then pretends they built it themselves. And Tyler Perry? He's done pretending. So here we are. The lights are dimming, the audience is getting restless, the curtain's about to fall, and the final scene isn't Meghan in a crown, it's Tyler Perry, standing tall, reminding the world that even kings get tired of being used. Because at the end of the day, fairy tales only work if the heroes earn their redemption. And in this story, the prince lost his crown. But the Duchess? She lost something far more valuable. She lost the last person who truly had her back, and that, Hollywood knows, is a plot twist no PR spin can fix.